Well, hello, folks on the internet. I am doing a deep dive video on a follower strategy for writers on Instagram. I'm really excited. So, basically, in preparation for writing my DIY MFA article about a beginner's guide for writers on Instagram, I wanted to go and boost my Instagram following, double it, just to see like what strategies I could employ. And I found some really great techniques and strategies that you can use super easy. So I'm going to share my screen and we're going to look at a follow train together. So, first of all, how do you find a follow train? I'm glad you asked. So this is my homepage, just instagram.com. This is where all my feed is of all the wonderful things I like to find on Insta. We're going to click search and we're going to go to author follow train. So this is a hashtag index page where all the folks who are doing hashtags of the author follow train, this is where it'll show up. I like to go to most recent because that can be a little bit better. I like how there's a follow train for children's book author and illustrator. That's kind of exciting. Author only follow train. So you can see there's a lot of different options. So let's see, they're still prepping for that one. I want to show you one that's like actually happening right now. Follow train, no rules. Okay, great. So this is what a follow train looks like. And I'm going to shrink my video so you can see. So basically, if you participate, you would connect with the organizer beforehand, get on the train, and then at the same time and date, you would post this picture and this copy onto your profile. It's a great way to get a lot of followers. I got like the last time I did a follow train, I got 100 followers, but it's kind of tricky because if you just like post a ton of follow train things on your feed, it can be kind of spammy. And I have like some really great like influencers that follow me, and like I don't want them to see that I'm like always trying to like find followers. So I do like a follow train like every couple of months. I just keep it on the down low, being a participant. But at any time, you can go into somebody else's follow train and you can check out these people and see if you want to follow them. So I'm just going to scoot this down a little bit. So basically, here are all of the hosts, the people who are participating in the train, and they're all actively looking for followers. So the thought is that if you're part of a follow train, or if you want to just crash the party, which is what we'll be doing today, we'll be party crashers on the follow train, is you would follow everybody. But I really found like even if you're a participant and they're supposed to follow you, not everybody will. And the reason for that is because Instagram caps how many people you can follow. I think it's 7,500. You can have unlimited people following you, but you can only follow, I think it's 7,500. I'll write it in the blog so you have the exact number, but I'm pretty sure that's it. So the problem is that when you're, getting high up in your Instagram career, let's say, and you're becoming an influencer and you reach your cap, like clearly you're not going to follow back everybody. And in fact, you'll probably go through your account and start weeding out the people who aren't at the same level as you. So I want to show you some boots on the ground. So I haven't looked at any of these people. Let's just open up a bunch of we'll look at some different profiles and we will see what their following ratio is. And I'll explain that in a minute. So here's Bottled Fireflies novel. So here's the thing. This person has over 9,000 followers. And look, they're pretty much like up against their following limit. So unless you're really excited about Heather Foster and you want to learn more about their apocalyptic pandemic love story, actually, that sounds really great. If you're into them and you want their information on your feed, yeah, go ahead and follow them. That's cool. But this person's never going to follow you back, especially if you don't have a big following yet. So like Bottled Fireflies novel, aka author Heather Foster, I consider this person to be an influencer. She's at the top of her Instagram career. She's got a big following. She's got, she's got a lot more followers than she is following. And this is a very big number. So it's actually quite difficult to unfollow people on Instagram. And in fact, I was using an unfollow app that I really liked. And then it got like really buggy and like shady stuff started happening with my profile when I let it log in and like help me unfollow people. So I stopped using it. And I honestly started looking for another app to help me unfollow people. And they all seemed like I would go through the Apple store reviews and it was all like people leaving reviews like my Instagram account got hacked after I used this unfollow app. And I was like, you know what? I think when you're just starting out, don't use the unfollow app. I think once you get to a level where you have thousands of followers and it's time to weed them out, then you get like a paid, you would pay for a good app that isn't going to hack your account. God, you would pay for a service to help you sort out your people to unfollow. So that's like a whole another conversation. But I'm bringing it up to say, like, you don't want to follow someone who's not going to follow you back. And then they're just going to be dead weight on your account, you know, unless you're really interested in their pandemic love story, which go ahead. It sounds terrific. But when you're starting out, I just suffice to say, it's difficult to unfollow people and to find the people who aren't to find the people who aren't following you. Like if you followed Heather, she likely wouldn't follow you back. So it's hard to identify that natively through the app. You really need like a third party to help you. And they're all like apparently spam garbage right now, at least in my experience. So when you're looking for followers on these follow trains, you want to be strategic and you don't want to follow people who are at this high level, who are like up against their Instagram following limit and likely will not follow you back. So, okay, Heather, I guess, has 2 accounts. So this is her when she's organizing her follow trains. So you can see her feed is all just follow trains. So she has that. It's interesting. She has that separate from her main account, which I guess is really clever. It's a clever way to organize all these things with a secondary account, encourage people to follow you as an author, but then also have a follow like an organizer account. So Heather would likely follow you back on this account. And if you wanted to follow her, you know, she would provide a lot of follow trains for you to join in, clearly, because that's like her jam and how she's amassed a huge following. So it would actually be worth it to follow her. And in fact, I have followed her so that when she posts a follow train, I can hang out. It comes right into my feed, which is nice. You wouldn't have to go searching for the hashtag. It just comes right on up into your home feed. So we'll close that. So here's somebody that I do follow. Road Bookshelf, aka Lindsay. She's addicted to books and she wants to share her thoughts. So she's a book reviewer. And I'm just going to look at her followers. She's got, you know, this many. She's got a lot of followers, but these, oops, you can see who they are if you want to stalk them. These numbers are pretty similar. So, you know, Lindsay isn't an influencer like Heather was, that last profile. She's more of like in the middle of her Instagram career. So she's probably a safe bet to follow. I always read their bio to make sure it's somebody who's aligned with what I'm interested in. And I scroll through their feed a little bit to make sure that there's somebody I want to follow. And I tend to not follow people who are into A Court of Mist and Fury. No shade on Sarah J. Maas, but I find that that's not I write fantasy YA and that's just not the genre that I write. So people who are into this sort of division of YA fantasy, I just don't align with, but I guess I follow Lindsay because I liked what she was posting. So let's see the next person. Okay, Book Nerd 2020. So here's another one where they're like honestly approaching influencer. They've got a lot of followers, almost 9,000, and way less people they're following back. So it's really, unless you're interested in their feed, which honestly sounds pretty generic, although I'm happy that they're an ally. And I definitely have no interest in romance novels. So this is just not an account that I would follow because it's highly unlikely they would follow me back. And then let's see our friend Julia. So Julia, mom, photographer, spoonie. I don't know what a spoonie is. Call me dated. Call me an elder millennial. But she is a book reviewer. And so this is somebody you could potentially align with, somebody who's interested in books. Her follower to following ratio is pretty even. So it's likely she would follow you back. So the last step I do, because I'm very particular with my followers, I don't just follow everybody. So I'll look at following to follower ratio, bio, and then if it seems like a good fit, I'll go through their feed a little bit. All right, she looks like they read some interesting books. You know, seems like a nice person to follow. I saw a romantic comedy, which I enjoy. So I would actually follow this person and hope that they would follow me back. So I'm hoping that you kind of get the vibe of how this works. We can look at a few more. Let's go to the bottom of the list. These people tend to get less love. The people who make it to the top of the list get the most love. So let's look at a few more. There's one more level of user that I probably should have pulled somebody up, but let's just take a look around. Another this is like somebody in the middle of their career. So they could be a safe person to follow. I don't like spicy romance. That's not my jam. So I wouldn't follow this person because our brands are dissimilar and I don't want spicy romance in my home feed. If you do, hey, you should follow Billy Jade, Kermack author, Billy Jade Kermack. You should follow this person if you like spicy romance. It's not my jam, so I'm going to not follow them. Now here's a person who is sort of just starting out. They have an equal ratio of following to followers, but it's, kind of lower. They're still in the thousands. So this could be a really great person to follow. This is sort of like the bottom level of people who are just starting out, just building their following. So Saya, bookworm, obsessed with K-pop. I can relate to that. They're linking to their Goodreads, which is interesting. So they don't even have a website yet. They're just starting out. So I would just scroll down, check out their feed, look at their books. I'm not totally, it looks like it's like a lot of romance, which I'm not into. So I personally wouldn't follow this person, but they would be a safe bet of somebody who would probably follow you back. And let's see. Here's somebody else also just following out, just starting out rather. They're just starting out. They only have 8 posts. They have 890 followers, but they're following like close to 3,000. So this is like, you don't want to do this. This is actually a really great example. You don't want to do this, friends. You have you're following so many people, but you only have, a fraction of that in followers. It just, you really want to build it so you're more even as you go up. So this is like a newbie just starting out, and clearly you can see from the numbers, they're doing a ton of follow trains. Just, I don't know, makes like, I wouldn't follow an account like this because they're just like reaching for followers and they don't have a lot of content, only 8 posts. If you only have 8 posts, that's not going to sustain you hoping that 3,000 people are going to follow you back. You really have to have a more robust feed. And let's look at their feed. They have a follow train. They have some random pictures. They only have like 1 book post. They got a lot of engagement on it, so that's good. So it's kind of like, when you're building in the beginning, you want to have some really good content down here, which this just seems like meh content to me. I just, not really. It's not really for me. Like, I wouldn't follow this account. Aurora, I hope you're not listening to this video. No shade. You do your follow trains. You do Instagram how you want to do. If you want to follow a ton of people off the bat, go ahead. But I don't think it's a good strategy. I think it cheapens your brand personally. Here's another person, 120 posts. So have a lot of good content. The followers to following ratio is pretty similar. So, and then let's see their bio, book reviewer, top 1% culture reading volume as per Book Sirens. I don't know what that means, but that's interesting. Looks like they have an interesting feed. They read a lot of interesting books. This is a great feed. Taylor Swift. Everybody loves Taylor Swift, except for me. Sorry. So this would be a great person to follow. They're serious. they're in the game. They have like really great content, and they've been doing it for a while. You can tell they're serious. They'll probably follow you back. So we want to follow them. So I don't think I have an example. I'll do a screenshot and I'll find somebody later. But another example of someone who's just starting out is like, doesn't have a profile picture, doesn't have any posts, and then like they're following a ton of people, but no one's following them back. You don't want to, clearly that's not Alyssa's problem. They're doing really great. She's doing really great with her posts. But I'm just saying, if you came across a profile like that, it's a total newbie. It could even be a spam bot if they don't have a profile picture, and you don't want to follow people like that. So I am going to just stop the share on the Instagram. I hope that's helpful. So basically, I'm going to break it down. I'm going to break it down and make it simple, because I feel like there was a lot of looking at things, and that could have been like a little distracting. So basically, we got the three different levels of where people are at in their Instagram careers. You got the newbies at the bottom. So they don't have a lot of posts. They don't have a lot of followers. They could be following a lot of people, but no one's following them back. Not a good strategy. Don't do that. That's at the bottom. That's where we all start. And so when you're just starting out, you want to really have that follower-following ratio being pretty similar, and really being careful about following people who are going to follow you back, because looking at their ratio, looking at their brand and their bio, making sure they align with you, that their content aligns with your brand. So that's step one. In the middle are the people in the middle of their Instagram careers. They have maybe like 50 to 100 posts, let's say, and they have like followers close to the thousands, 2000s, and the follower ratio is pretty similar. So those people are a really safe bet to they'll follow you back, especially if your brand aligns with theirs. So that's where I'm trying to get. That's my goal. My goal. I don't really feel like I need to get to influencer level. I'm just happy with like, I'd like to get to like 1,000 or 2,000 followers. And like, I feel like that's happy. I don't need to obsess about Instagram. I just want to use it as a tool to build my platform. So mid-level, and then at the top are the influencers. And those are like the super famous authors. Like I follow Jane Friedman, who has really great advice about marketing for writers and publishing. People on the top where it's like they've got 10,000 followers, but they're only following 2 people, right? When you're famous, then you can unfollow a lot of people who aren't feeding your brand, if you know what I mean. So like if you, let's say like you're at the top and you're an influencer, like you're probably not going to follow back somebody who's following 4,000 people, but their followers are really low, right? Because that just shows that they're trying too hard. You might follow somebody in the mid-level who has good content. Like I've had like authors follow me back when I review their books, because like, you scratch my back, I'll scratch your back, however that works. So I hope that makes sense. I think when you're just starting out, you just want to like be really mindful of who you're following, and don't follow too many people at once. Let that build steadily as you're building your good content, and that'll make for a really strong profile and a strong presence. So I hope that was helpful and I didn't overcomplicate things, which I can do. I think I'll just end by saying like a good strategy is posting once a week, some good on-brand content. So if you're a YA fantasy author like me, I would like review a YA fantasy book once a week, which is easy because I read a lot. Or I'll also just do like YA, things related to my genre, or I do a lot of reading. So I share it all on my Insta. So you post once a week, you start building your good content. And as you start showing that you have good content, that makes you more exciting for people to follow, because you're proving that you've got good content, you're worth following, you're worth listening to, because you're saying smart things on the internet, right? Build your following intentionally. Follow people who are likely going to follow you back. Don't just do like huge spamming followings where like you're you put in to follow 1,000 people in one day. That's too much. Get away from the computer, go outside. No one wants to see people who like are following so many people, but no one's following them back. It just shows that they're really new and they don't have good enough content. So just build your following steadily. Sure, slow but steady wins the race. And, you know, maybe like a good goal could be like every week you're going to follow 10 people whose content really aligns with yours and you really like their information and you think that they'll follow you back. And then slowly and steadily, you know, once a week, posting your content, getting, you know, following 10 people who you think will follow you back. And then, you know, that kind of momentum will just grow and grow. It's easy to sustain and it'll really serve you well. So I hope that was helpful. If you have questions, just put it in the comments down below. And thank you for watching.